Unity in comics is a wonderful sight. Whether it's watching different heroes join together to fight a foe, or hell, even creators from different brands interacting and working with one another. The theme of unity is one of the many reasons why I still collect and follow comic books today. So when I see two writers of one of my favorite heroes at odds end, it definitely stings. With everything that's happening in the world right now, animosity between writers is one of the last things we need in comic books. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Roliver Queen, and I'm back to break down the feud between Black Lightning's Tony Isabella and Bryan Hill. Cue the intro. Before we jump any further, if you haven't already, please hit that like, please hit that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications so you're always in the loop whenever I drop new videos. We're going to start off with a brief history lesson just in case anybody needs more context. Black Lightning was created in April 1977 by Tony Isabella and artist Trevor Von Eden. Isabella had prior experience with black characters after working on Luke Cage at Marvel. DC brought him over to develop the character, which is where he pitched Black Lightning, thus bringing the GOAT to life, and DC's first black superhero. Isabella's first Black Lightning run ran for 10 issues before it got cancelled thanks to the DC implosion, a mass cancellation of comics that weren't selling well, partially due to the blizzards of 1977 and 78. In 1995, Isabella launched another Black Lightning series, but was fired from DC Comics 8 issues into the run, and the series was cancelled 5 issues after. In between and after that time, Black Lightning has solidified his status as a hero in other books, such as Detective Comics, Infinite Crisis, Justice League of America, and more. He is also featured in other forms of media, such as the CW adaptation, the Young Justice cartoon, the Injustice game, and Batman Brave and the Bold. Black Lightning may not have Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman status, but numerous creators have taken the foundation that Isabella built and made him into a hero that shines alongside and apart from the Trinity. And this is something that I and many other black DC fans appreciate wholeheartedly. During DC's Rebirth era, Isabella returned to DC to write Black Lightning Cold Dead Hands, a stellar 6-issue miniseries where he takes down an illegal weapons ring that's crippling his city. At the time, this was Black Lightning's first and only appearance in DC Rebirth, as well as Isabella's final time writing for him. It wasn't until 2018 where we see Black Lightning return. At the end of Scott Snyder's Justice League No Justice, Batman realizes that he needs a new covert team to handle missions that the Justice League can't without harming their image. To help him, he calls on Black Lightning to help form a newer team of the Outsiders. Now, for whatever reason, Isabella would not be a part of this new development, which is where Bryan Hill comes in. It was announced in March 2018 that Hill, known for his work on Killmonger, American Carnage, and Michael Cray, would be taking over Detective Comics once James Tynion's run had ended. In this 5-issue Detective Comics run, we'd see Black Lightning fully integrated in the DC universe once again. Black Lightning and Batman successfully recruit the newer members of the Outsiders, and this all-star team learns to work together in order to defeat Karma. Hill was able to capture the balling qualities that made Black Lightning shine and put a brand new spin on the character by making him the leader of this discreet team. All of this was set up for the Batman and the Outsiders book, which Hill was slated to write, scheduled to release in December 2018, but got pushed back to May 2019. Now this is where things go left. The first issue of Batman and the Outsiders was finally released, and there was a lot of excitement and praise for the team of Hill, Dexter Soy, and Veronica Gandini for delivering a stellar first issue. The wait was well worth it, and fans couldn't wait to see what was more in store for this all-star team. Unfortunately, the festives were interrupted the following morning by Tony Isabella, who had some not too kind words to say about the latest development of his character. Isabella discouraged any praise that was thrown to the first issue, saying that Black Lightning was reduced to Batman's support Negro, which was insulting to the character, fans, and him as their creator. He also encouraged fans to check out his Cold Dead Hands mini and the Black Lightning TV show, which he deemed as more quote-unquote authentic. It was clear that Isabella went into the first issue with some heavy bias. If anything, Batman reached out to Black Lightning because he trusted his judgment and knew he'd do a better job than he could at leading the other members of the Outsiders. This doesn't sound like a support Negro to me. Now, being the creator of Black Lightning, the tweets made headlines on numerous news sites, and this was a pretty hot topic in the comic book world. The energy surrounding Batman and the Outsiders was completely different in just a matter of 24 hours. Normally in this age of social media, a tweet like this and the news that it brings would spark a vicious back and forth, but Hill would take the high road with his response, stating that he cared very much for the entire Outsiders team, especially Black Lightning, and he knew that they had fans who deserved thoughtful stories that he hoped the Batman and the Outsiders book could provide. Hell, he even went the extra mile to discourage any attacks towards Tony Isabella and encourage fans to let his work do the talking. Man, you think with a response like that, that would be it. The guy just wants to write a great story with these deserving characters. Who can still be mad at that? Well, fast forward to October 2019. At this point, Batman and the Outsiders is 6 issues in, and the development of the story and the characters is moving along quite well. At the end of the month, news broke once again that Tony Isabella had some more words, but not directly towards Hill, but towards Batman and DC's overall reliance on making him the center of their universe, which he wasn't too wrong about, especially considering how many titles and events lately have been Batman centered. I mean, look at Dark Knight's Metal, look at Dark Knight's Death Metal, look at Joker War, look at Year of the Villain, which was Batman's fault, and the list goes on. Now, while he didn't explicitly say it this time around, one could assume that Isabella was still pissed that Black Lightning was part of a Batman-led group. Now, 2020 is where things kicked into overdrive. 2 months later, after COVID forced the entire world to shut down, DC Comics was ready to get back in the game, and Batman and the Outsiders was one of the first few titles to start things off. In this issue, readers finally saw a payoff for Black Lightning and Katana's relationship, something Hill has been planting seeds for since the beginning of the run, and boy was it worth it. Katana asks Black Lightning why hasn't he thunderclapped her cheeks yet? Yeah man, why haven't you? Unfortunately, the convo ends with Black Lightning shutting down the topic entirely, probably because he knows she's gonna put it down on him so good that it's gonna be his soul that ends up in her sword next. This did not sit well with Tony Isabella, and once again, he took to Twitter to let us know. Isabella once again had some harsh words towards DC Comics and the entire team of Batman and the Outsiders, stating that anyone who understands Jefferson knows that Lynn is his one true love. Historically, Lynn Stewart in the comics and the TV show has been Jefferson's love interest or wife. Now, while this could have been a valid complaint, it either showed that Isabella just had a hard-on for attacking Bryan Hill, or he wasn't in tune with all of the Black Lightning adaptations. As I mentioned before in my previous Black Lightning video, Black Lightning was a key character in Young Justice Season 3. His rise to leadership at the end of the season included a romance with Dr. Jace. Now that relationship didn't last long due to her betrayal, but at the end of the day, that was a version of Black Lightning that was divorced and was clapping cheeks that wasn't Lynn Stewart. So is him potentially getting with Katana that big of a deal? Not really, especially since Batman and the Outsiders isn't canon to the events of Isabella's Cold Dead Hands, which ended with Jefferson and Lynn beginning to date one another. So if him being divorced and sleeping with another woman is fine in Young Justice, then it shouldn't be a problem here with Katana. It doesn't feel forced at all, and it could help develop both characters. Sounds like a win-win to me. Once again, word reached Hill about what was said, and he responded gracefully, stating that the last thing he wants during a pandemic is to drag comic books into the mud because Isabella's differing opinion, and that just like everyone else, Isabella was entitled to his opinions and that there was no ill will. Again, I don't know how the man does it, but damn, is it great to see someone you admire still keep professional, especially when he has every right not to be, because at this point, this is just borderline bullying. Now, the last instance of this feud that I'll bring up is probably the most silliest one. Hell, I'll even call it a reach. In Batman and the Outsiders issue 13, Batman realizes that Black Lightning and Ra's al Ghul's weapon are connected to the same forces, and Black Lightning could even destroy it. To aid him with this, Batman reveals that he's been working on an upgrade for Black Lightning's suit since their fight with Karma, and he decides that now is the perfect time to reveal it. Batman showcases a teched out seat that'll provide Black Lightning with the upgrade. Once again, Hill's writing showed that he was out to build up Black Lightning, taking him to the next level by having him be the trump card that's gonna whoop Ra's al Ghul's ass. Now listen, I was hooting and hollering when I saw this, and I knew shit was gonna get real here, and quite honestly, if I was the creator of Black Lightning, I would be excited too. But I'm not. Tony Isabella is. And his response was just totally uncalled for. In his tweet, Isabella somehow related Batman upgrading Black Lightning's abilities to the heinous Tuskegee experiments. I'm not going to give you a history lesson, just use Google and search up on that history and you'll see just how bonkers of a parallel that is. Now, Batman may love incapacitating criminals till they can barely speak. And yes, he has a sick fetish with dragging kids into his war on crime, but to imply something so vile about that writing when it's clear that he's doing something to help one of his friends is just wrong. I could somewhat see where Isabella was coming from with the previous criticisms, but this one crossed the line. Several fans were quick to respond to the tweet, which got nasty, and once again prompted a response from Hill, telling fans to chill out and that this beef was one-sided. And since then, things have cooled down, but not for the better. On July 17th, it was announced that Batman and the Outsiders was ending at issue 17. This was a major curveball for fans of the book, especially since Hill stated a few days ago that he had some cool things in store for the Signal, another Outsiders member who has been rarely utilized outside of the book. But most importantly, this meant that after the series was over, Duke, Black Lightning, Katana, and the rest of the characters on that team, minus Batman, would return to irrelevancy. With death metal stretching out to next year, as well as whatever Snyder has planned, it's safe to say that none of these lower tier characters will have any major roles moving forward. Once this news broke, one would think that Tony Isabella would be giddy with joy, while that hooting and hollering he was doing finally paid off. The book he spent a year railing on was now coming to an end. I guess words do have power, even though the reality is, the book was not selling that great. Instead, Isabella sent out a tweet saying that he wasn't unhappy that the series was ending, but he also wasn't going to gloat about it either. And he said that the door was open if DC wanted him to write a brand new Black Lightning series. Character development? I'll take it. With that said, we have 2 more months left until Hill's time is over with Batman and the Outsiders. This is more than enough time for Hill to continue to grow Black Lightning. Knowing that the title is over, Isabella may chill and let Bryan Hill do what he needs to do to continue to work on Black Lightning. Or depending on what Hill does, we could see more words thrown his way. Oh boy. To wrap this video up, this entire one-sided feud is interesting. As easy as it is to say this entire situation is Isabella just lashing out at Bryan Hill, I think it's more than that. Up until now, Isabella has had a rocky relationship with DC Comics. A mix of behind-the-scenes conflict, as well as just the general nature of this business, is why he's only been able to pen one full series. Now, Black Lightning has grown under the pen of other writers throughout the years. Isabella has had no creative input and watched him bounce around from multiple books, events, and TV shows. Now, I believe that after Isabella returned to DC and wrote Black Lightning Cold Dead Hands, he expected that he'd get the chance to then write a brand new Black Lightning ongoing, and I can't blame him. The way the series ended opened the door for a continuation, and I'm sure Isabella had more ideas that he wanted to explore, and for whatever reason, that didn't happen. So when Bryan Hill enters the scene and gets the chance to write his character, again, I can understand why that could rub him the wrong way, especially if he's part of a team that's being managed by Batman, the face of DC. However, at the same time, Bryan Hill is an amazing creative who has respect for Tony Isabella and most importantly, Black Lightning. It just so happened that he has now been allowed the opportunity to expand upon and grow Black Lightning. While his series may be ending, I believe he's done just that, and he'll continue to do so until the end of Batman and the Outsiders. It's clear that he and the rest of the crew on the book meant no harm, and it was unfair that they were attacked on a regular basis by Tony Isabella. Isabella and Jim Lee, who's now running DC Comics, should have a sit down and hash out their troubled history. Hopefully, it'll lead to Isabella getting his wish of writing another Black Lightning ongoing. If not, then at least another miniseries where he can evolve his creation. Also, once Batman and the Outsiders is done, Isabella should definitely reread the series with a brand new lens. And maybe, just maybe, he'll see the good work that Hill put into his character. I'd love it later down the line if the two were able to sit down and settle their differences. At the end of the day, Hill was just another writer in a list of many who's contributed to the legacy of Black Lightning. He deserves to be respected as such, especially by the creator. Now that would be a great way to close out the story, with unity. What do you guys think about this feud between these two writers? Do you think they'll ever be able to squash it? And what do you think about Batman and the Outsiders? Was Tony Isabella right in his criticisms? Let me know all down below in the comments. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like, please hit that subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I appreciate all the love that you guys have been showing this page, and I definitely will be back with the streams very soon. Much love, much peace, Roliver Queen out, and please be safe.